Hello and welcome to ECTV Live. I'm Rusty Fender, David DeCosmo enjoying a couple of weeks off at the New Jersey seashore with his family, but again we'll continue on here with business as usual. One of my favorite programs it has to do with the Jazz Festival here in Scranton. And joining us, my longtime friend and executive director of not only Scranton Public Theater, but of the Scranton Jazz Festival, and this is 14th year, my good friend Bob Schlesinger. Bob, good to see you, my friend.
Hey, you too, Rusty. It's great to be here, and I appreciate you guys having us. You know, this is Marco Marcinko. He's sitting right next to me.
Yes, exactly right. Marco will be joining us shortly.
Marco, what do you think? It's 14 years, right?
Remember, right. Marco, go big and be on time. If
That's
not,
right.
Go bigger.
That's right.
But 14 years, Bob. I mean, who would think, you know, and a lot of viewers, a lot of listeners who don't follow jazz on a decade-by-decade basis probably don't even know that this was an African-American, much like rhythm and blues, although this came out of the French Quarter of New Orleans back in the late 1800s, and it's an Afro-American rhythm. And, you know, it diverged into so many areas that we forgot the mainstay genre, you know, with swing and big band and bebop and scat. And it's amazing.
You're covering. I couldn't have said anything if you just said Rusty. But the bottom line is a lot of people, and I love this area, so let me just clarify that. I love the Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Hazleton area because we don't know how good we have it up here. And so consequently, when we first started the Jazz Festival way back when, 14 years ago, a lot of people said, oh boy, you know, that's got a snowball's chance in hell of making it. And I said, well, wait a minute, let's see. We haven't tried it yet. We really don't know until we try. So here we are 14 years later, and I'm thrilled to say that we have brought in some of the great jazz musicians who have played all over the country. And now keep your fingers crossed because our sponsorships are evolving, that we are able to last another 14 years.
And you know, if you went by that rule of thumb, the arena wouldn't be built, nothing would be done, because nothing is ever easy to do at this point.
Yeah.
You know, so if you didn't just take a chance and do this, nothing would ever get done.
Well, we're a show me state. Show me it will work, and then we'll follow. Well, we've showed people that it will work, and now they're starting to follow. Oh, wait a minute, we just got a guest. The guest just walked in.
Great to see
Marco.
you, Bob.
Marco,
Rusty,
good to see you.
pleasure.
Marco, my pleasure. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah,
by
have
the
a
way.
seat.
We really appreciate
Have a
it.
seat.
Thank you, Mark.
I was busy dealing with a lot of the acts for, you're saying,
This
show
is
me.
a-
I
this
wanted
is
to
a-
show
see,
everyone
this is
the
a
beautiful
good-
Well, get it out of my
See this
face. I
segue?
want to
This-
see it
this
right
is-
here.
this
I'll
guy's
hold it
a
with you.
pro.
poster right here.
Yeah, I wanna be
Hold
on the
let me
camera.
clip on
Yeah,
my mic.
put your mic on. Go big.
We gotta
Or go bigger.
Yeah.
Speaking of going big, where's
Yes,
the Cosmo?
he's vacationing at the
Lord.
New Jersey seashore.
I don't blame him either.
Yes. And my
Hot
first
day.
question to you,
Send
Marco, is
send my regards.
why jazz? Why not say potato? Why do they call it jazz? It's an inside joke. But I'm glad you could make it, Marco. 14 years, Bob and I were just discussing 14 years.
Yeah.
Another thing like the arena, they said, don't do it. It'll never happen.
Right.
People will not come 14 years later.
Yeah, and we're doing really great. Our presentation is getting bigger and better each year. I'm sure you guys discussed that before I got here.
Well, we didn't
And,
get to it, but we're working on it.
Right.
Yeah, that's
We
your
wanted to
job.
save the big thing for
That's
you,
your
Marco.
job.
Yeah, well, go big as DeCosmo
Or
did
go
say.
big.
And
I
we're
mean,
going big.
I did want to send my regards to him. I know he's down at the Seashore and he won't be able to make the Jazz Festival. He never is able to come. But, you know, David, thank you for the slogan, Go Big, because I've been doing that ever since you told me. It's very obvious now. I'm taking it very seriously in all walks of life.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
All
Mark.
right.
I'm going to write that one
is.
down.
Yeah. So what did you guys discuss?
We're discussing what's coming up for the 14th.
Who we
Give us
got,
the
Marco?
logistics, and who do you have? Delfeo Marsalis.
Delfeo Marsalis.
The grandson, and of course, the family tie-in, Branford and Winton. And
Yeah. Well,
this
there's
is-
Jason Marsalis,
Yeah.
there's Branford, Winton, and
And
Delfeo.
Delfeo is a trombonist, correct?
He's a trombonist.
Yes.
He's a younger brother of Winton and Ellis Marsalis, who's the patriarch. He's the jazz pianist and the great jazz educator. These are his kids. There's also a few other
Sit back,
children
Marco.
as
Stay a
well.
while.
Oh, I'm good.
Well, wait a minute. I'm going to
I got
sit
somewhere.
up there.
I got somewhere to
Okay.
run. I got somewhere to run after
Yeah.
this for the
Wait a minute.
festival.
Hold on, Rusty, you're out of the picture.
Relax,
man.
Bob. You can sit
Well, I
back.
got the thing going, Bob. That's the
can sit
important part.
back.
You guys can take it over
you
from
can
here.
sit back.
Oh, let's
But,
have some fun.
So Delfeo's going to come up and he's going to guest with our big band On Sunday night, that's going to be a very special time. And our jazz festival on Sunday, August 5th, starts earlier in the day with our youth orchestra, as Bob likes to put it. But we have, right now, the reason why I'm coming in late is I'm at Camp Crescendo working with the students.
At Marywood.
At Marywood,
Yes.
yeah, in the lower level. We're at Marywood all week, and we have students that come from northeastern Pennsylvania to work with the jazz educators, and we get them prepared to do a performance at
Great part of
the
the festival, too.
Yeah.
It's great. Something to be proud of.
And
Young kids play
that's
with
at
the big ones.
5:30. If you refer to the rack card here, if Marky wants to get in tight on the rack card, you know, you'll see the schedule of events on Friday, Saturday, and
You need
Sunday.
a microscope to see
Pull it
that.
down a
I
little,
don't know.
Marco, because the light will reflect.
Can you see it?
off
How's
the-
that?
The other way,
How's
Marco.
that,
The
Mark?
other way, Marco.
This way, Rusty?
It's fine.
Okay. Can you see that? So you'll see the Camp Crescendo students are playing at 5:30, followed by another wonderful group from down near the Harrisburg Central area of Pennsylvania, Teen Town. They're all young teenagers that are playing at a professional level. They'll be performing. And then Hendrik Merkins is coming, great jazz harmonica player, vibraphonist, multi-Grammy Award nominated artist. He's coming with his band from New York City. And then closing the festival Sunday night is Delfio Marsalis. Prior to that,
With
the
the
Scranton Jazz,
16-piece
yeah,
big band, which is great.
the Scranton Jazz Festival
Just
big
to fill
band.
this in, the historic combination of acts at a historic venue, possibly the most historic venue,
Yeah.
the old DLNW train station, the Radisson.
That's
Hotel,
right.
In the area,
That's right.
in the state.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Friday night we have special effects coming, multi-Grammy Award winning, also Emmy Award winning musicians in this group. Eric Marienthal, tenor saxophonist, alto saxophonist, very well known and respected in the jazz and pop idiom, played with Chick Corea, plays with the Gordon Goodwin Big Band. Regina Carter, the great violinist, who on her own is a major solo artist that tours all over the world. She'll be with the group. Jerry Brooks on bass, Joel Rosenblatt on drums, who used to play with Spyro Gyra and Michelle Camilo.
Lau
As-
Kaiser?
Lau Tizer, keyboardist.
Spyro
and-
Gyra in the area 3 years ago for the
Yeah,
fest
that's
here.
right. We've
Yes,
had Spyro
indeed.
Gyra
Yes.
before.
We've had them twice.
And then,
That's right. That's
Sold
right.
out twice.
Yeah.
That's right.
And special effects is led by it's his founding member and leader is Chieli Minucci, who's a great jazz guitarist and writer and arranger, producer. So they're going to be playing Friday night, and opening for them is the Voodoo Barbecue Brass Band. And this band is like in the New Orleans street tradition, you know, very lively and upbeat. So our Friday will also include a jazz walk in the downtown area, utilizing Posh, utilizing the Radisson Tracks patio, utilizing a Dezo coffee shop, you know, in the Marquee Art and Frame building. The Bog is on the Jazz Walk, Backyard Ale House. These are some of the venues that are on there. Northern Light as well, the
August
Espresso
3rd,
place.
4th,
Yeah,
and
August
5th,
3,
to make
4, and
sure.
5.
3, 4, and 5.
And
then-
that's all after the main stage. You know, that
That's right.
happens all after the
That's right.
main stage. And the main stage is our bread and butter. That's why Marco was able to get these terrific musicians to come to Scranton. And, you know, when they leave Scranton, if we give them a good experience, that word of mouth goes all over the country, and pretty soon the jazz festival gets known amongst jazz circles, which will allow Marco to get more name recognized jazz
We've been
musicians.
getting a lot of talk, you know, like 14 years, you garnish. I think when a business establishes itself within the first to 5 years, you know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Excuse
then
me, guys,
5
just
to
for
10.
a second. I
Yes.
have to a
Wanna
little itch
leave
right
it for- oh,
Okay.
yeah, a little itch.
A little itch right there.
I thought you had okay. So within the 1 and 5, you have a certain sort of range that your goal is set for.
And then it slowly turns into a template.
Yeah, that's right, Rusty. And then 5 to 10, and now we're going between 10 and 15, 15 being next year. So the names that we've had are the names that have appeared at the Newport Jazz Festival, the JVC Jazz Festival in New York, the Monterey Jazz Festival, the Montreal Jazz Festival, the Rochester Jazz Festival, the North Sea Jazz Festival, and I could go on and on and on. We've had some of the biggest names, and they come here to Scranton. We keep the ticket price low. We keep the ticket price low for the obvious reasons that we want to attract a really nice, to this beautiful venue. We want to bring as many people in and make it just affordable and comfortable with the wine, food, the spirits that we have there, the vendors that we have, the merchandise that we sell, and the great music.
And it's all covered, of course, under the train shed. That was
Yeah.
the historic platform where the folks from here, they used to take the DL&W, later the Lackawanna Railroad, to Hoboken, New Jersey, and
Phoebe
train.
Snow.
The Phoebe Snow, the route of Phoebe Snow,
Yeah.
and the Phoebe Snow. So this was the waiting platform. When you look up, you see all this oxidized teal turquoise colored copper. That
Yeah.
was the copper over the last 100 and some years that oxidized, and now this was the waiting area of the platform where you boarded the train for either Hoboken, New Jersey, New York City, or points
Yeah.
east of there.
And
really
we
historic.
Converted into a huge theater.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. I was gonna
800
say that.
seats. We got lights, sound. We bring in the best technicians from the region. We have Jimmy Langan, who's a
Great stage manager.
multitasker.
Award-winning stage manager.
And a great stage manager. So we don't have to worry about transitions between acts. He handles all that. So the people that are working with us are also, that you don't see, they're world class also. So we got a really good group of individuals who helped put this whole project together. And I personally am proud, and I know I can speak for Marco. 14 years is great, and we have a bigger event next year because it's our 15th anniversary.
Yeah.
So it's really a good thing, and we encourage people who always tell me, I don't like jazz. I don't know what jazz is, and so therefore I don't like it. Well, you know, it's...
Or some people turned off by an 8-minute improv drum solo. We're
Well-
not mentioning any names here.
Well, no, we're not going to mention any
But
names.
he's worth the price of admission. But you know,
Thanks,
I
Rusty.
shouldn't have said that.
Thanks, Rusty.
But he is, and you know, those kind of things. Once we feel we get you there, because we still are in the audience development mode. Once we feel we get you there, you're going to come back. Maybe not the next year, because you could have picnics, vacations, all that kind of stuff. But we're going to get you there the next couple years, 3 years, and pretty soon. We hope to get to the point where you can't get a ticket to the Jazz Festival.
You know what's interesting? Can I say, like, this year, one of the big headliners is Bernie Williams. Bernie Williams, the great number 51 center fielder from the New York Yankees. Well, he's played guitar and studied guitar and music his whole life. And when he retired from the New York Yankees, the great baseball team.
4 world championships.
Yeah, he decided to go to school. He wanted to go back to school for music. He went to the Manhattan School of Music. He went to Purchase as well. He got his degree in 4 years, and he's out touring. He was nominated for a Latin Grammy for his work with his group. And he's coming here, and here's my point. People that aren't familiar with the music want to come to the festival just to see Bernie Williams. So they're going to come, they hear Bernie Williams play. This is a fact. They know nothing about jazz before they get there. When they walk out, they're like, man, I never knew I would like this
So
kind of
hopefully
music.
we'll get that non-traditional jazz
So-
Right,
audience
and that's a
because of Bernie.
tie-in to my question too. Do you think that the latest round of folks who come and appreciate this kind of jazz, Adelphio Marsalis, Spyro Gyro, big crossover hit,
Yeah.
big crossover record with Morning,
Morning Dance, yeah.
back then. Do you think that these folks still are enthralled and go back to the original New Orleans roots of jazz? Ramsey Lewis, Dave Brubeck, Miles Davis,
Yeah,
John
yeah.
Coltrane. Do you think so?
I know what
do
you're
these
saying.
folks, do these
You're
folks
saying-
know what Kind of Blue and Sketches
Yeah.
of Spain is?
So many of our fans do, because the audience, the core audience, is very familiar with the artists that you named, and those are historical American classic records too. When you say Kind of Blue, that's the most selling
Number one.
Yeah, most
Number
selling
one.
jazz record of all time.
All time, that's correct.
Followed by Time Out by Dave Brubeck.
That's correct.
Okay,
That's
that
correct.
has the famous Take
Then
Five.
you get into your
Yeah.
other genre with John Coltrane, of course,
Yeah.
The Bird.
Right, of course. Charlie Yardbird Parker. But with this festival, with what we like to try to do under the umbrella of jazz is make a presentation. Big band jazz, vocal jazz, traditional jazz, more funky, more fusion-oriented jazz, smooth jazz. There's such a wide gamut underneath that umbrella, and we try to make a nice presentation between the jazz walk and the main stage. We want the audience from outside the area and here in northeastern Pennsylvania to have full access.
And I think that's why you went 14 years this
Yeah.
year, because a lot of folks from this generation, this genre, would only think jazz is Herbie Hancock's Watermelon Man,
Yeah,
the
right.
in-crowd Ramsey Lewis. They
Right.
wouldn't know about the real traditional Verve record
Yeah.
label
Well,
jazz,
you're right,
correct?
you're right.
Rusty, you would know this, but see,
You're
they
right,
didn't get the
Rusty.
radio play.
Right,
They didn't get
correct.
the radio play
Correct.
back in the day. You know,
Had to be
the
three-
jazz,
had to be 3 minutes
the
and
jazz
5
was
seconds.
was under the table.
Absolutely.
Spyro Gyra broke through.
Absolutely.
And
Chuck Mangione
Chuck
broke through.
That
Mangione.
feels
And
so
we've
good.
had him
Absolutely.
there.
Yep.
So you know that's why
People didn't know what a
are not
flugelhorn was
familiar
before
with
Until Chuck
Mangione.
Mangione. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
That's
I
right.
mean that's why, and so now we're trying to. I don't want to say educate. We're in the entertainment business, and we're there to entertain. And if you are not entertained, you're not going to come back. So we got to
Absolutely.
make sure that you're entertained. And one thing and again that I'm really proud of is the level of the artistic quality because of our artistic director. The level of the quality there, we don't really have to worry about. We know that the high level of quality is going to be there. And it's not like theater or some other things where you get up and down theater. This is high level musicians playing who can play to the best of their ability. And we try to encourage them. I mean, couple years ago, Jimmy Heath came into town and played with a big band. It was one of the greatest concerts I've ever seen, and I'm not lying.
Jimmy Heath, NEA
91.
Jazz. Yeah, he was 91. at the time.
91.
NEA Jazz Master, just like Delphio Marsalis is an NEA Jazz Master, awarded from the National Endowment for the Arts, a Jazz Masters recipient. And there's only a few that are out there that are still living and playing and doing their thing.
God bless them.
And recognized by the U.S. government, you know, as a great master in this art form. And we're lucky that we've had Phil Woods here, recognized
God
as a
rest
great
his soul.
master. Jimmy Heath, recognized as a great master, jazz master. Bob Duro, just this year will be recognized as a great
God
jazz
rest
master.
his soul.
And now Delphio's coming, another jazz master. So we have all the components. We have everything going the right way. And if the people are interested in coming to the festival, they can visit our website, scrantonjazzfestival.org. They could get all the information for tickets there, or they could call our phone number for our box office, which is 570-575-5282.
August 3rd, 4th, and 5th at the Radisson, of course, in downtown Scranton. A lot of folks, and again, maybe, Bob, you are right in saying that you're trying to educate. Maybe you're educating in a way that's not even direct. Folks listen to the Peanuts theme and don't know that Vince Guaraldi.
Oh man, one of my
Another
favorites.
legend.
One of my favorites.
Right, that's hardcore mainstream jazz from 1965
Yeah.
when the Peanuts came about. People
Yeah.
don't even know what they're listening to. They say, I hate jazz.
Charles
and yet you're
Schultz.
humming the Vince
Yep.
Guaraldi trio.
That's right.
So you are educating, Bob.
Well, I believe that you can educate a lot better by being extremely great entertainers. Entertaining makes it easier to educate. Now,
right.
I work a lot in schools and things of that nature. And if I can't entertain the students, they're not going to learn. So here we have the jazz Camp Crescendo.
Yeah.
We have Camp Crescendo.
We have an education
These kids are
component.
inspiring. They can inspire their peers. But the best way to educate is to entertain. And some of the great teachers are great entertainers. They get in front of a classroom. People tell me all the time, I love this teacher because he holds my attention. These jazz artists, and I mean world class, can hold people's attention. Freddie Cole.
Yeah.
We had Freddie Cole
Legend.
here. He hit one note.
Legend.
There was 700, 750, 800 people there. Hit one note, and suddenly the place went silent. And I stopped what I was doing. I had a drink in my hand. I had to put it down. And
That's a tough thing for him to
Yeah,
do.
well,
Can
hey,
I tell
listen,
you?
I admit
that's
that.
a tough thing for
I
him to
admit it.
do. Let me just jump
I don't
in
want to be
here
known
and
for
say
that, but I admit
He
it.
put it down.
It's a
He
tough
put it
crowd.
down.
It's a tough crowd.
But that
You
was
know?
Freddie Cole. Hit one note, and suddenly it went silent. And for the next hour and a half, you listened to what he was doing.
Rusty, back to the Charles Schultz thing that you were saying before. So Charles Schultz is driving in California, going somewhere. He's listening on the radio. He hears this piano trio playing on the radio. And Vince Guaraldi's big hit was Cast Your Fate to the Wind.
Correct.
And so he heard this, and when he heard this, I want to get in touch with this guy. I like this music. I have this idea for the Peanuts.
Dun, 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 dun,
that's how
dun, all syncopated.
He met with him, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So we have generations of people listening to jazz music. And in that context, but they're listening to jazz music. And there's other TV shows and film scores where this has also occurred, And I think it's important because I feel as Americans, the true democracy that happens in this music, when you have a bass player, a drummer, a keyboard player, a guitar player, a vocalist, a couple of horn players. They're all on stage. No one's reading music. Everyone's listening to one another. Everyone's negotiating simultaneously right in the moment and coming up with a creative thing that the audience could enjoy.
No, you're right.
And that's true democracy, and that's what this music is about.
This is interesting. Yesterday, I just waited. I had this DVD pre-released, pre-ordered since April when it came out. Even though I was a projectionist for 4 years, I'm not a big fan of seeing movies in the theater because it's kind of annoying with people on their cell phones and texting. So I wait till the DVD comes out and just spend the $29 and buy it. So yesterday, Barbara and I watched Chappaquiddick.
Oh,
huge, of course, area.
Mary Jo
Kopechne.
Joe Kopechne from
Local tie,
45
local tie.
died in the whole deal.
Yeah.
They interspersed the Chappaquiddick incident, Ted Kennedy, and this very week, as a matter of fact, July 22nd, 1969. They used that interspersed with the moon landing. Because it was 1 day different. 1969, the moon, man on the moon was July 21st. This was the 22nd. And they used almost an entirely jazz-oriented score.
I'll have to check it out.
Yes, you will have to check it out, because I had to look at the credits, because there were a lot of mainstream top 40 songs, and you didn't want to do this as like a top 40 American graffiti type of show.
No.
And they used this off-centered, haunting kind of really dark, because it's a very dark, dramatic movie.
Yeah.
It's a dark, dramatic score with a lot of unheard ofs, but again, it was like cover. Check out the soundtrack.
I will.
From Chappaquiddick, talk about jazz. That brought to light the element of the 1960s, which we were just talking about. Vince Guaraldi, all this from the Ramsey Lewis.
Charles Mingus.
Yeah.
The
Even Dobie Gray.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
folks
right.
know, The In Crowd, Ramsey Lewis covered.
I also want to say about the 60s, what a time period in American history, but so much with world affairs, with things happening here in our country, cultures clashing, the race thing, all of this was going on. But let me say something about the music of the Beatles, interfusing Eastern Indian music into their and classical music and jazz. If you listen to some of the Beatles things from the White Album, Sgt. Pepper and Revolver, and you hear some of the writing that George Martin was behind doing, there's some jazz influence there. Then there's also that crossover, like with Ravi Shankar and everything like that. So there's an amalgamation of all this kind of music. Jazz is so big a piece of that puzzle.
It is. And before you got here, Bob and I just mentioned, if you look at the actual authentic dictionary meaning of jazz, it's an Afro-American, albeit based in New Orleans, French Quarter culture.
That's
Afro-American.
Right.
You can't get any more basic than that than going back to rhythm and blues.
That's right.
Inner city. I grew up in the Washington,
right.
D.C. area. When I was 18, you could have a beverage
right.
in
American
18
made.
in Washington. When I got there was jazz clubs all over this. The one step down. We used to go there. We used to bring our girlfriends there. And they loved it. They had no experience with jazz.
Now, Bob, how many girlfriends did you bring there to the One Step Down? I want to talk history now.
I don't want to go back.
Washington, D.C.
I don't want to go
history.
Did you put a drink
I love them all.
down at
I
the
love
One Step
them
Down?
all.
Did you put the drink down, or did you grab a drink at the One Step Down?
I finished it and then put it down.
Go big. Go big.
Or go big.
Go big.
Jazz
Go
was
big.
in my point is, you guys are like going away from the point.
No,
My
no,
point was
no, we're not.
in New York and the big cities, that's where jazz got its roots. And I'm going back to your thought there, Rusty. And that's where it's got its roots, and now it's migrating into the regions. And that's what we're doing.
It's
We're bringing it
everywhere.
into the regions.
Every community has its collection of artists and musicians, and there's anywhere that I've gone to play, and I've been around this country and around the world quite a few times. We always find great jazz musicians everywhere we go. It's a very high art form. It's something that you're always striving to do. It's a complete art form because it always has a meaning to strive for something fresh and new, something that you want to pull out of yourself, something that you want creatively to communicate to the audience, but more so, how can I communicate my emotions, my feelings through the music and give to the audience. The music is very powerful in that respect. You won't see a lot of us reading the music up there like you would in a symphony orchestra where they're reading Beethoven, they're reading Mozart, Shostakovich, what have you. Very powerful pieces, amazing music, very important. But with what we do, you'll see a collection of musicians on stage, no music, looking at each other. What do you want to play? And we play, and we sell it.
Now, I want to make sure this comes back for 14 more years, so give us a rundown once again. We have a few minutes left. August 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Marco, take it away.
I'm going to hold up the big poster now, and I'm going to put it right
finale.
in the... And right,
Front of
Rusty,
Don't
could you
cover
hold,
Bob.
Could you hold that end?
Let me do
Could
this.
you hold that end so we can put it
I'll play
in the
puppet
appropriate spot?
theater here.
Right here.
You want to see
hold
me?
it. Well,
I got
hold
a
it right
drink
here.
behind me. Maybe put it in front of me. I'm gonna
Scranton
grab a
Jazz
drink.
Festival. Great artist Delfio Marsalis performing with the Scranton Jazz Festival Big Band. The great Bernie Williams Collective. He's a former New York Yankee great. He'll be playing jazz guitar with his group. Special Effects, their 35th anniversary tour. This is the group, all-star group. There's Lau Tizer, there's Chieli Minucci, Regina Carter, Eric Marienthal, Jerry Brooks, and Joel Rosenblatt. Some of the other artists that are performing at the festival: La Cucina, Teen Town, Voodoo Barbecue Brass Band, Hendrik Merkins, Samba Jazz Quartet, and many more. Here's tickets, ScrantonJazzFestival.org, or our box office phone number. And we thank so many of our sponsors. It's too hard to name all of them right
Big
now.
ones. Lackawanna County. Big one. Another big one. Northeast Pennsylvania Honda dealerships. Those are our big ones, but WNEP.
WVIA.
WVIA.
NROC.
Yeah, NROC. We got a lot of sponsors, and
Gallery of Sound.
It'd be the wrong place to mention them right now. But we do want to say, and this is one thing to ECTV.
And we thank ECTV.
We want to
always
thank them
ECTV.
always. And this year we're going to ask a specific thing, that you guys play the Jazz Festival a few weeks after it debuts, because there was a thinking that you play it the next day. Well, we had a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to go to the Jazz Festival, I'm going to watch it on television, just like you said, I'll watch the CD the next day. And we found that, you know what, we want to tease you a little bit. Mark's maybe not play it for 6 months from now, 3 weeks from now.
Bob's a big tease. He used to do, in his younger days, he did
He's
a lot
my
of...
agent. I'd never gotten any work.
Always
here.
with a drink in his hand.
Always with a drink in his
now, wait a
hand.
minute, guys.
and a
We're
song
taking
in his
that to
hand.
Scantily
another level.
clothed, scantily clothed, he would tease the women.
Oh, yeah.
And the men.
I
And you
look-
know what? It worked.
Yeah.
I look forward to doing this show, of all 52 shows, so much, and you
we
never,
missed
and
Dave
you never let
DeCosmo.
me
Where
down.
is
Where
Dave
is
DeCosmo?
David?
Hold on, we're gonna leave you with the thought for the day, Marco, which is what?
Go big!
Or go bigger. Bob Schlesinger, Executive Director of
Pleasure.
the Scranton Jazz Festival, of course, Scranton Public Theater. Marco Mosinko, a musical legend in your own right.
Thank you, Rusty.
It was wonderful to see you again.
Thank you.
14 more years. This
Way
will
to
be
go,
the 14th.
Mark.
Mark Migliore.
Oh, yeah, that's
American made.
Our technical,
There you go.
our technical guru, American made. And we'll be back next week here on EC. I'll be here alone again next week. Dave, have a good vacation. We'll see you next week right here on ECTV Live.
Thanks, boys.